Hey everybody, I'm Blind Ryan, and I don't know how well this is going to flow, but I'm going to give it a try anyway. So, this video is about how I advocate for accessibility, how I got into it, and kind of what I focus on as an advocate, because I focus on many different things compared to other advocates, and I'm not looking to throw shade, it's just I have a stylistic choice that is different from others. You know, don't advocate shame, bro. So, in 2014, I want to say, um, Civilization Beyond Earth had come out, and I needed a mode, a viewing mode that was in Civ 5. It was the same engine, so I needed the view from Civ 5 to be in Civ Beyond Earth. And I asked the community manager on Twitter. They said, yeah, I'd be in. And then I went to a dev stream and I asked the devs, and they said it would be in. And then it wasn't in. And this is before Steam refund, so that's $80 just gone. And since I'm on disability, $80 is quite a lot of goddamn money. So I was pissed. And my wife actually came up with the idea to start advocating for games. Just asking people and seeing if I can, get them to add these features that people with disabilities need before the game ships. Because after the game ships, it's a lot harder. So I was kind of kicking the idea around, and I joined Gamergate because I believed in what it stands for. And I'm going to try to have images and examples and videos in the description of the kind of things I'm talking about. And during Gamergate, I joined a streaming group, kind of casually joining. I mean, I wasn't officially joining them, but I was on like a live stream with them. And I can't remember how, but Ian Hamilton got in touch with me because presumably he could tell that I actually wanted to do something rather than this fucking jerk offs who just wanted to smoke pot all day. So I tried and failed to start an NPO on their advice, and I asked them for help. They didn't help me, so it just kind of fell on its ass, and I was really disillusioned for a while. And but one of the things I did do is I did get a contact with the Hatred devs. I believe they're called Destructive Creations, but I can't recall off the top of my head because it's been so long. And I got them to add a brightness gamma, contrast sliders, and all these other things. And from there, it's just a matter of if I find a game that looks like it could be an interesting get. Generally, I'd stick to indie games because I like talking to devs. I don't really like talking to publishers because I'm a firm believer in going to the people who can actually do the work. So I stick with indie games because the line from consumer to developer is very short. Usually you bug them on Twitter or you bug them on Discord or you send them an email or something. So, I've been doing that since 2014. And so, excuse me. The kinds of things I advocate for, I do not advocate for easy mode. Not without penalties, because easy mode should be the very last thing you add for disabled people, because most disabled people, not speaking for all of them, I'm just saying the most of the people that I have talked to don't want to beat the game at any cost. They want to beat the game that you made. They just want the tools to be able to beat it. Give us the tools to beat your game our way. So look at Last of Us 2. Sure, me and the guy that they got to dev it had a falling out. Whatever, don't care, not important. But he and I share a philosophy on the game shouldn't be made easier for us. That's patronizing. The game should be made playable for us. And so you look at all the audio cues and the subtitle options and the font options and the control options and all those things like that. That is how you make a game playable. Making the icons multi-faceted, color and shape. Making the fonts able to be resized, or making the UI able to be resized so that we can see the information that we need to play the game. Not making the game easier. Just making it easier for us to play it. Like Hades, for example. Hades has a ton of audio cues, great audio cues, but it doesn't have any way for us for blind people to see where they're going with the doors, and that could be easily remedied because the doors have little icons on them, and you can just put the sound that the icon would make, like the money would be the clinking of gold, the gems would be the little gem noise that you get, the darkness would be the little darkness thing you get, each individual boon would have an associated sound for its god. If it was a dual boon between two gods, you would have both of them play at the same time or something like that, and then you'd have it play in the direction where the door is so that blind people could see where they're going. Excuse me. So things like that. But I don't want devs to change their games. If a game is supposed to be blisteringly difficult, I don't want it to be made easier. If a game is supposed to be dark and difficult to navigate because it's a spooky game, I don't want the devs to make the game brighter, because that defeats the purpose of the game. I want the devs to tell the stories they want to tell in the way they want to tell them. I just want the options so that we can be able to experience those stories too. And game devs, if that's something you also would like, please feel free to get in touch with me with copies of your games. I'll review them. If you want to pay me, I'll do consulting work for them. I'm very amenable. I'm currently working on Disco Elysium. I'm currently working on Ultimate ADOM. I'm open to help. That's the most important thing. Would I like money? Yes. Would I like recognition? Of course. Mostly, though, I just want games. I want more games to be playable by more people. That helps you guys by getting your name out there. It helps with PR because, hey, we took time out of our busy schedule after the game was done. We spent an extra week making sure that there were these features that, disabled people can also enjoy our game. It looks good from a marketing standpoint. It shouldn't be the reason why you do it. You should do it, altruistically, but let's look at the world. It's a capitalist world. We want to make money. Well, what makes money? Good PR. And, and even if it's after the fact, even if you release a game, it's like, because I've had that happen, where devs will be like, well, we can't get it in now, we'll get it in later. Okay, that's totally fine. As long as it's on your mind, that you will, that you can get, this is on your to-do list. That's all I really ask, because I know some of my peers want this shit done right away, and that's just not viable, because game deving is a pain in the ass. At the best of times, it's a pain in the ass. Either you're working on a deadline, or you're working with code that doesn't really lend itself well to accessibility, which is why I try to get in as early as possible. If you can get in the pre-planning stage, you can get this stuff in their heads so that it's not an issue. They're just, oh yeah, we got to add this option, this option, this option. Let's put in let's build it in such a way that it would engender these options. You know what I mean? So that is pretty much what I do as an advocate. Now, if you want to be an advocate for accessibility, well, be a gamer. That's the first thing. You need to have a familiarity with video games. I've been gaming since 1985. I've got a tattoo of it on my thumb. So you want to definitely have a history with video games. You need to know stupid lungs. You need to know what features can be added. You need to know the font options. You need to know the most readable fonts for, the disabled. And you need to know what kind of color schemes work best. What kind of alternate things work best. And I'm not perfect in that regard. I'm learning new things all the time. That's why I always ask for input from friends of mine who have different eye conditions or, different disabilities. Like I've got a buddy with ALS. Hi, Brad. Who, he uses eye tracker. So I learned from him that he can't use click to drag, but he can use click and click. Monster Train's a good example. It has click and click and click and drag. You can do either one. It works fine. So he loves the hell out of Monster Train. Boy, does he love the hell out of Monster Train. And they love him too. So that's what you call a symbiotic relationship. Anyway, so you want to have a history with games. You want to know what can be added, what good things can come of accessibility options. And you just need to get your name out there. And how do you do that? You find a game. You find a game that you want to improve, or you would like devs to improve, I should say, because really we don't do anything. That's why I don't really ask for money for what I do. It's because I know I'm just an idea man. The devs are the heroes here. The devs are the ones who are putting the things together. We're just people asking for features. So, It's just get a hold of them on Twitter, get a hold of them on Discord, get a hold of them on email. Just get the message out there. And if you do it often enough, eventually you'll get noticed by somebody. Even if it's just an indie dev, some single guy working on a game, like Approaching Infinity. Dude, it's just the one guy, and he was very nice. I mean, there are so many nice devs out there. I've been doing this for so long that, I mean, the number of nice devs to dickhead devs is just night and day. You would think that it would be in the 80s, 90s of dickhead devs, my vision and such and such. But no. The actual independent devs that I've gotten into contact with, even some of the higher ups that I've gotten into contact with, it's like some of the bigger studios. When I actually get in touch with the devs, as opposed to the publishing people, they're more than happy. They don't even know this shit. Once they learn it, they're like, oh yeah, we'll put it in as soon as we friggin' can. It's not even a problem. It's just, they don't know. And so getting the word out there is the important thing. And that's the other thing. If you're able-bodied and you want to advocate for the disabled, say you have a relative, say you really care about this, whatever, not here to judge, what I would ask is that you don't presume to speak for all disabled people, because we are not a monolith. Our disabilities, even people with the same disabilities, say there's somebody else with ROP and asthma and fibro and hearing problems like me, our eyesight, our lungs, our fibro, everything would manifest itself differently. And one thing that would work for me wouldn't work for them. So what you have to do is reach out to as many disabled people as you can. And generally speaking, if a disabled person is asked a question, they will answer it, unless it's worded rudely. We are totally fine with giving our opinions. We love giving our opinions because so often we are talked over or talked for. And, I mean, nobody likes being patronized. Not even able-bodies like being patronized. So, why would you do it to a disabled person? That's just rude. So, if you're a dev and you want to know this shit, ask people. I mean, we in the accessibility community call Ian Hamilton, Papa Ian, because he's kind of the one that got all of us into this whole thing. But, I mean, he doesn't presume to speak for us. He just has collated a list, which I will link, that has a lot of the, common ideas to work around, because he's been doing this way longer than any of us. So, I mean, if anybody's going to know who he is, but even he doesn't presume to speak for all of us. Although he and I do have, design differences. He's more in favor of the easy mode, and I'm not. And we've been around the mulberry bush for years. But I still respect him, and that's the other important thing. Don't disrespect people. Just not even in accessibility, just in general. Don't be a dick. I mean, I shouldn't need to say that, but I find that since around 2015, 2016, I kind of have to say that. And I'm no better. I've been a dick too. It's kind of bit me in the ass. Whenever I'm disrespected, I feel like I have to defend my honor and pride. So I'm no better than anyone. I make mistakes, same as anyone. But the most important thing as an advocate is just make sure the message comes first. I have to assume that at least some of the devs who have interacted with me know that I'm me. This is the person I am. But they understand that my message of adding options is more important than who I am as a person. They may not like me as a person. In fact, I know quite a lot of them who don't like me as a person. They'll bring up politics, or I've brought up politics in the past. I'm really trying not to do that anymore. And you can tell we would not agree as people. We would not get along. But I am somebody who wants accessibility features in games. They are people who want to put accessibility features in games. Through that mutually beneficial arrangement, we can come to, an agreement, because we respect each other as people. We're not calling each other names. We're not trying to cancel one another. We're just, look, this is the professional relationship. Once that's done, you feel free to hate whoever you want to hate. I'll feel free to hate whoever I want to hate, and we'll go upon our merry ways. Anyway, I hope this ramble, more akin to my traditional rambles, has been illuminating for anyone looking to get into advocating. I'll try to bullet point it since I'm at the end of this whole thing. Make sure you know about games. that you have been a gamer, that you know what you're doing with as it comes to playing video games and consuming them, as it were. Make sure you know what things work and what don't. Like an easy mode is, it can be done, but it generally comes off as patronizing. It was just, oh, we'll give them an easy mode and that'll shut them up. So yeah, that's not good. But your font options, what works best, your control options, what works best there. Make sure you know what will work, and make sure you're on point on your message. You'll notice when I am when I'm talking to devs on Twitter or Discord or what have you, I tend to dispense with this bullshit and I focus on just the accessibility, because that's really all I'm in contact with them for. Now, I mean, if they want to keep it going, that's all on them, but most of them don't. Most of them are like, thanks for the information, we'll get right on it, champ. So, also, don't be afraid of disappointment. Life is full of disappointments. All you can do is just keep trying. If one game doesn't work, you move on to the next, and you move on to the next, and you move on to the next, and you keep going and going. You take the victories you can get. You don't dwell on the negatives. You don't dwell on the defeats. Sometimes a dev just isn't going to be interested. They've got too much shit on their plate, and that's totally fine. And that's the other thing. Be understanding of the devs. Don't be entitled and asking the world of them. They can't do everything. Even a team of 200 can't do everything. It's a matter of, if you get something, count it as a victory. Be thankful. Don't oh, I wish I could have gotten this. Like with Hades, I wish the blind could have gotten a couple of things they needed, but at the end of the day, the game is still amazingly playable, especially if you use a mod that makes it a little easier. But that's not me asking the devs to add in an easy mode. That's modders doing the job. It's kind of a custom job, as it were. So that's pretty much the end of my rant. I really hope this has been enlightening. I'm really sorry that I was more scatterbrained than usual. Anyway, I have been Blind Ryan, and I will see you all next time.